Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back for another inspiring episode. I don't know about you, but I love learning how I can tap into the magic all around us. And it is all around you. I am super excited to have an old and dear friend, Sha Blackburn, here with me today to talk about just that. Sha is known as the LoonWitch. She is an internationally recognized psychic, holistic healer, and teacher, and has been empowering individuals to transform their lives using magical principles and her intuitive gifts since 1997. Since childhood, Sha has been drawn to the mystery schools and walks that path today. She's a Reiki Master Teacher, certified Neuro-Linguistic Practitioner, QHHT Practitioner, and is certified in Shamanic Healing from the Foundation of Shamanic Studies. And we're going to be talking about how to call in the magic of the elements every day. The elements are all around us. Let's tap into the power. So welcome, Sha.
Thanks. It's nice to be here.
I'm so excited to have you and talk about this because it took me, a long time. I think we get in our head a lot. And we don't realize that all around us, every single one of us, we have access to the power and the wisdom of the elements. So let's talk about that for a moment. Like, why is it so important in your messaging to share this with women about working with the elements?
Well, one of the most important things to me in sharing this message is teaching a principle that I learned growing up, that everything you need is within your reach. You don't have to search far and wide for that elusive thing. Everything that you could possibly desire is just an arm's length away from you. And I laugh when I think about it because my grandmother used to tell me that all the time. And I'm the youngest of two children. And my mom likes to tell me how I didn't walk until I was almost 2, because everything that I wanted was either brought to me or I could just roll to it.
It was like, I'm going to start calling it in early.
Right.
I love that though, but it's so true, because as I've gone on my personal journey and spiritual journey for the last 30 years, I used to make everything so much harder than it had to be. Because I think we're all programmed that life is hard and you got to work hard and things don't come easy. All the scripts we usually hear growing up at one time. But for some of us, it becomes the script that we navigate life with. So your message is so important. And I know you've been on, probably 100 shows over the last 2 decades, really educating individuals about this. So let's say there's a beginner listening and they hear, let's work with the magic of the elements. What would you say to a beginner who's like, what is she talking about? What would your definition be? Because I was that beginner at one time.
Oh, yeah. Well, so my definition of magic, and it's kind of a classic definition, is being able to transmute or change the energy that's around you. And energy is such a hot button word right now. Everybody talks about the energy and the vibe, and we want to be high vibe and high energy and things like that. And let's face it, you wake up in the morning, not everybody jumps out of bed and is like, woohoo, it's Monday.
True, so true.
And not everybody drinks coffee and caffeinates themselves to face the day. But there are ways that you can face the day in alignment with the energy just by taking a shower, for example. And even though my mom always says it's not good to shower every day because soap dries out your skin. And I think, well, growing up on a pond in the summertime, we would just jump in the pond in the morning. And it was so refreshing because the water would be invigorating, and it would just kind of wake you up. So one of the first things that I would say to a beginner is understand that when you're taking that shower, sure, when you're using the soap and water and you're scrubbing the dirt off of yourself, you're also scrubbing off the negativity. You're scrubbing off the nightmares, the sleep, the anxiety of what you might be facing during the day. And if it's not a day where you should be using soap and water, you know, maybe just doing a little bird bath for yourself, you can stand under that shower water and imagine yourself under a beautiful waterfall and let the water just cascade over you and clear away all the cobwebs of sleep and revitalize you energetically, right? It just in your mind's eye. And, you know, when you get out of the shower and you're wrapping yourself in the towel, you feel so much more alive and awake and alert just from that one process.
And I love that. So that's working with the water element. And something I heard through your words is about intention, right? We can all get in the shower and go, got to get this done so I can get on with my day. You're saying, no, be intentional, be in relationship with the water. I love doing it with like the water coming down, and it's like removing any anxieties, unconscious scripts that I have. Other times I've used it when I was healing to envision white light in the water, clearing out all unhealthy cells. So that's what you mean, right? It's turn that moment of just another routine we have to do every day, which is taking a shower, to something sacred and intentional. So that's working with the magic of the elements, something as simple as that.
Absolutely. And another thing for beginners is like, when you're trying to figure out what's my daily practice going to be, you know, you're thinking, oh my God, I need 30 minutes to meditate, and I have to brew this special tea, and I have to dress this certain way. You don't really have to do any of that. You just have to have the intention that every action you take during the day is a sacred action. So when you're in that shower, that can be your prayer time, your meditation time. You know, it's time for yourself. You're not showering with all your pets and your kids and everybody else in there with you. It's just you in there. So that's some sacred personal time that you have.
See, I love that, because for me, I realized many years ago, and I'm sure many women can relate, I would judge myself 20, 30 years ago because I couldn't meditate. I was not one to sit on a cushion and go, And then I realized that when I'm washing a cup and looking out the window, because I do have a dishwasher, but I still love hand washing certain things. And about, I don't know, 10, 15 years ago, I was washing the cup one day, lost in the beautiful view I have outside. All of a sudden, this inner awareness came and said, oh my God, I was so present. That's meditating. In the moment I released what I thought meditation had to be, and this is really what you're talking about, like I was present with nature. That's a sacred moment. I was connecting with the earth element, whether I labeled it that or not.
Right.
That's what you're talking about, making the routine little things that we're already doing more intentional. And that becomes a sacred magic ritual, correct?
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love this. Because I think sometimes we hear the word magic and we think, oh my God, we got to do rituals. As you said, we got to find time.
Right.
And we push the idea away because we have a projected idea of what it means. And the truth is, as we're learning now, it isn't. It's all those beautiful moments. Lighting a candle, we can just go light a candle, or we can set an intention as we're lighting the candle. Hold
Exactly.
So that was the water element. How do we call in and work and play with the earth element?
So one of the things with the earth element, I have a couple of notes. So let me just take a quick peek because I wanted to make it really, really quick. So when we're talking about the earth element, one of the things that you can do, even if you're not a coffee drinker, just get a little canister of instant coffee, you know, and you must know somebody. If you're not a coffee drinker, I'm not saying go out and spend $10 on this, you know, whatever gallon of coffee, but you know somebody that drinks coffee. Ask if you can have a little scoop to put in a jar and make it a nice, you know, as opposed to my plastic jar, make it a nice, beautiful jar that makes it feel more sacred. When you open up and I know when I'm opening up the coffee grounds and you're hearing me shake it, you can kind of start smelling what that smells like, right? Yeah. When you take a deep inhalation, as if you were going to meditate, when you smell that earthy, roasted, nutty fragrance of the coffee, it breaks through your I can't remember the name of it, so I apologize, but there's like a blood barrier in your brain, and it enlivens your senses. It makes your brain sharp. It brings you to the present moment and focuses your attention. And this can be used by you. Like I said, you don't have to drink the coffee. You just need to smell the coffee, and it brings that earthy scent right into your brain.
Are there other earthy scents we could use? Like
There are other earthy scents you can use. You can use potting soil. If you take some, I often recommend to people that they take dirt from their favorite places and combine them in a jar. I actually have a jar of all of my favorite dirts that I keep on my sacred altar. And that dirt itself, when you're breathing in the scent of your combination of potting soil and beach sand and all the dirt from all the different places, maybe a little bit from your fire pit, you're smelling all that deep, rich earthiness that brings you right back to your center and reminds you that you're okay, you're alive, you're vibrant. And that's how you can work with the earth element. It's really, really simple.
Yeah, and that's easy for anyone, even if they can't get out for the day. Like one of my favorite things is, Dana and I always go for nature walks, but that smell after a rain, when we're walking through the forest and we can smell everything from the mulch to the earth to that, it is so grounding. And something else when you're sharing about the coffee, it's so funny. I immediately went back to childhood and can remember my parents always having Maxwell House on the counter, the instant coffee. And I used to love smelling that as a child. Yep. And so it's so funny that I haven't thought of that memory in years, but it must have been soothing for me because I would open it.
Oh, yeah.
I can still picture the kitchen. So it's so funny that I may have been doing that as a child, thinking, they must have been thinking like, what the hell is she smelling the coffee for? But now I'm being brought back to that memory. It must have felt grounding to me at a time that I needed it. So absolutely, it's funny that our intuitive nature, our soul, is always guiding us to what we need. So for me, nature, earth, and water are two of the elements I must have. So I live on the water, as you know, and that's my sacred space. So are we normally, like, are each of us soulfully drawn to certain elements? Like, am I wired to need water and earth, and maybe someone else is mountains and fire, right?
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. I would say when I'm teaching my witchcraft students, that's the kind of witch that you are. You would be more drawn to being a water witch. So the water becomes your focal point, and that's where a lot of your magic comes from. And water itself is a great conductor of energy. It can amplify the energy. It moves the energy. So sometimes I'll have people throw something out into the ocean that when the tide is going out, so it's taking that away from them. They don't need it anymore. Let the water take it away, Yeah,
and it's funny because if something's weighing on me, I can remember probably 10, 15 years ago, family member was going through a lot of stuff. And I didn't want to carry that angst, that worry, and that's our tendency, right? Is that worry just becomes this deep blanket. And energetically, that's not what I wanted to project. So I remember walking the beach, Onset Beach in Cape Cod, picking up stones, and I had them in my hand. And then I identified the worry and would throw it into the ocean. It's like, it's no longer mine to carry, I give it back. But I did it with such intention, but I didn't know that was a ritual. It was just something within me. I was like, I got to get this out of my body, and I didn't know how. So that's I taught my granddaughter. She had a little struggle about 6 months ago, and she's an introvert, extrovert in a lot of ways, but a very highly sensitive child. So I actually gave her one of these, a carnelian heart.
Oh, yeah.
This is mine. And we went out in nature to a place we hadn't been. I handed her a spoon. She's looking at Alma like, where is this leading? She's handing me a spoon in the middle of the woods. and then I had her dig a hole, and I gave her a piece of paper. I said, we don't have to talk about anything. Whatever is weighing on your heart, whatever you're worried about, etc. You put it on this piece of paper and we're going to bury it. And nobody will ever find it, but you don't have to carry it anymore. And then at the end, she goes, so what's this heart for? I go, so whenever you see this heart, you remember you no longer have to carry it. So she has one and I have one.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, hers is on her, and I did the thing with her. She still remembers the power of that, of giving her permission to release it in a way that worked for her. I just happen to use the earth.
Right.
So that's another example, right? Like
Absolutely
is there to support us. I used to have my clients write a letter, whatever they wanted to put down, anger, whatever it was. Some are 2 pages, some are 20. And at the other house, the big house, which you know about,
Yep.
I had a fire pit, and I would then have them burn it. But as they saw the smoke going up, I said, envision your source's hands, whatever it may, whoever that may be, up in the sky. And as the smoke goes into it, the hands close and say, it's no longer yours to carry. And I'm going to tell you that was powerful. So this has reminded me of so many things. So Sha, you're a troublemaker. No, so let's keep going. I'm just really loving this, but this is so beautiful of ways that we're not even thinking about, that we may be doing, but we're not maybe doing it as much as intentional as we should.
Right.
So let's see, we talked about earth and water. How about fire and air? Like,
yeah,
we're drawn to that.
So, right, because as you were talking about your fire pit, fire is very transformative. When we think about the element of fire itself, you know, it takes a wax candle or a soy candle and melts it down to nothing and turns it into smoke and evaporates water and all the things that fire can do for us. And the farmers use fire to put nutrients back in the soil. So that's something to think about when I talk about working with the elements. I'm talking about the things that happen naturally throughout our lifetime. So right now we have the wildfires in Nova Scotia. So we're seeing all that haze and smoke, and it's grass fires. So obviously the grass is being burned off, and people are very concerned about the fires, obviously not wanting them to spread. But once those fires are burned out, they've put a lot of nutrients back into the soil. They're reclaiming, the element of fire is reclaiming that grass and neutralizing the soil. So now other things can grow and be healthy and vibrant, and it will help the landscape.
So
you know, it doesn't
hard to watch and go through and witness it.
Right.
The earth has its own processes that are completely natural to it. So like candles, you said about burning down. Watching the candle burn down, is that a ritual? Like, do you keep the candle lit until whatever you're working on, or was that just a statement to describe it?
Nope, that's exactly what I do when I'm working on candle magic. Depends on how many days or how many hours you need that candle to burn. You can put notches in it, and you focus your intention while the candle burns down to that notch. Or if you use a birthday candle or a small candle, a birthday candle will only burn for about 20 minutes. So you can put your intention into that birthday candle, put it in a dish of dirt, light it, let it burn, and focus your intention on that flame, and watch how the flame changes and manipulates the candle while it's burning. And sometimes you'll see that the flame is going to point right to you as if it's talking to you. And when you're working with candle magic and you see the flame perfectly straight up and down and very calm, that means your intention is very focused and there won't be any obstacles to manifesting what you've lit that candle for.
That's powerful. I love that. I was curious because I heard you reference it.
Yeah.
So if someone wants to work with air, I'm not sure how I would work with air.
Well, so air, what did I write down for air? Oh, yes. Well, air is always, visualization is very good for air.
Okay, I do that all the time then, because I'm a big visual.
Yep. And knowing what direction the air is flowing from, let's say if you have an understanding of the directions north, south, east, and west, right? and north is the calming. It's cold in the north. So we think of it as a place of rest, a place of sleep. The sun rises in the east. So we think of the east as a place of awakening and enlightenment. Where it sets in the west, we think of the west, that sunset as like a place of peace. And at the noontime, when the sun is right over our head, right, the air, that's the south. It's the most powerful part of the sun. So when the wind is coming from that south, it's about focusing on our passion. And when you're visualizing, you can face those different directions if you want to be in line with the elements, as all the elements, as well as the wind, and feel that wind blowing on your face as you're visualizing. If you can sit outside, and if you can't, have a fan. And put the fan, just put the fan in whatever direction you need that wind to blow from. Put it on low and let it blow on your face while you're visualizing your intention. You want to
tapping into the energy of air, and it's almost like a feng shui thing in a way, because if you get to the real air, that's an enhancement that you can use to bring in the element of air.
Absolutely. But if you live in the city and you can't get outside, and or you're not sure what direction anything is, but what the directions are in your house. And even if you don't know what the directions are, you can always get a compass, or you can just make the statement, this is the air coming from the south. This is the air coming from the east. This is the air coming from the west. And the universe hears and understands you.
And I believe that. I believe, again, it's all about intention, because I'm about intentional life, intentional business. And I found so much more peace in my life when I started living in creating and existing with intention. So everything really that you shared today is about, it is all around us. The magic is all around us. And we may be, like myself, you reminded me that I've been doing some of these things, even though I didn't call it magic. I wasn't following anything. My soul organically knew what I needed. And that's, I believe your main message is, we're all connected to the elements at all times. We just have forgotten.
Exactly. Yep. We get so busy with technology and things that have to be done, or items that have to be purchased, that we forget that we are beings of nature.
Yeah, it's so funny, because I can still remember 29 years ago when I met Dana, and we live on this beautiful pond. I can remember coming down from actually the direction of your house, coming back to the little cottage way back then. And I had my head in my phone, right? Doing this. And I remember we were probably dating 6 months, and we're coming down by Ralph's house, and he goes, do you even see any of this? And this is me. He goes, the beauty, the leaves are changing, everything, but I was always in my head. I had another business at the time, a retail store. It was always in my head. That's just, I had never been connected with nature. And it was being here on Loon Pond, and this is the LoonWitch, so that's why we know each other. So being here on Loon Pond and in relationship with Dana, who is a big nature man, I started waking up to everything that was around me. And now nature is such an important part. We end our day every day on the dock, not in the winter, of course.
Right.
That's how we close out the energy of our day, sitting on the dock, tapping into the energy of water, feeling the sun. That's nature, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can feel the difference when I was disconnected from nature, because I didn't know any better 30 years ago, to who I am now in the energy and peace and magic that I've been able to tap into. And I want to say this for all the viewers and listeners, we're no different. You have access to all of this. You have access to all of these beautiful resources. And now that you know Sha, I want to make sure that I save some time, because she has a free gift for you. We're going to keep talking for a few more moments, and she's going to share some more wisdom. And then I will tell you all about her complimentary gift, so you can start tapping into the magic of every day, my friends. So is there any other tips or strategies? You shared so much wisdom here that you can think of that you want to share with those, especially the beginners, the beginners who are like, oh my God, this sounds like something for me, right? What are some other things that you feel led to share?
So another thing that you have, everybody has this in their house, I can almost guarantee: pepper. So black pepper, you know, it's a spice that we use with our cooking. It tastes great in eggs,
Yum.
great on steak, right? But black pepper also, for those of us who live in the woods, it deters ants from getting into your cabinets and things like that. Ants won't cross a line of pepper. I'm not really sure why they won't, but they won't. So if you think about that principle, that pepper gets rid of ants, they won't cross that line. And what do we think ants are? We think of ants as pests, especially when it's spring and early summer and they all start coming out and they're like, oh, what do you got? You got some honey, you got some sugar, you got some peanut butter. Great. The black pepper will also keep pests and negativity out of your home. So if you just take a little black pepper, sprinkle it on the threshold of your door, when people come to your house, for example, the in-laws, if you don't get along with the in-laws, or other people that you don't get along with, or even salesmen. I don't know. We don't really have salesmen that come to your house anymore, but I just dated myself.
Yeah, me too.
But people that you just don't want to welcome into your home because they're bringing negativity, that black pepper will deter them from coming into your home if they're carrying negativity. And if they're not, they'll be able to cross over with no problem and come right on in. So
It's
it
like
will
a
help them.
protective ritual.
Yep, it's absolutely. And it will help those people to leave their negativity outside when they come in. So if let's say you're having a dinner party and everybody's coming straight from work, you know, you sprinkle a little black pepper on the threshold of your door. You can sprinkle it a little further out from the threshold of your door too. So it's kind of like a two-step verification process.
Excuse me, I'm reading your energy here.
Right? So they step over that first line of pepper and they start to feel a little bit lighter. Then when they step over the next line of pepper and come into your home, they feel so much lighter. Everybody has a wonderful time and you get the kudos of being an amazing hostess, right? They're saying to you, oh my God, I just love being in your home. I felt so much lighter and there's so much joy and peace in that energy. And little do they know, sure, you probably have great hosting skills, but a lot of it has to do with the pepper, getting rid of those pesky things that weigh people down.
Oh, I love that. It's such a great tip. So someone could sprinkle it all around their house if they desired.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I love tips and strategies like this. You've shared so much wisdom today about empowering women to tap into the nature and magic all around them. And as I promised, Sha has a free gift for you. It's click the button right on the side of the video. It's a 3-piece Magickal Living Elevate Your Frequency Kit. You'll learn to tap into the magic all around you and go into a deeper dive than everything that Sha just shared here today. And it's this empowering frequency elevating kit includes the how to tap into the magical elements of each day. That's a PDF that shows you how to connect with the energies of each day of the week. And it's so cool because like Monday will tell you the crystals to tap into, what the chakra is for the day of the week. It is really cool PDF. And then you'll also receive the vibrational frequency chakra balancing MP3, which is a sound bath for your chakras. And the third item is you'll meet your spirit guide meditation. It's an MP3 file, so you can learn to connect with your spirit guides. And yes, you do have them, my friends. So Sha, I am so grateful that you circled up with me today. And I know that women are going to be served by your message. And I want to invite all of the viewers, if you're new to this and your heart is going, oh, I got to try it, just pick one and start there. And then, of course, download that free gift because it's filled with wisdom that I know is going to speak to your heart. And we'll give you some great tools in that product too. So thank you, Sha.
Thank you, Linda. It was my pleasure.
And I'll see you guys soon.